Do you know what respect looks like in the world of One Piece? It isn't bought with berries or measured in power levels. If it were that simple, the world would just kneel before the five elders and wait for the end. But Luffy is the glitch in their perfect system. He just shows up, causes absolute chaos, and somehow walks away with the most legendary names in history backing him up. Today we're ranking the characters who respected him the most, from the grudging villains who hated giving him credit to the people who literally rewrote their entire lives because of him. Respect doesn't start at the top. It starts with denial, then anger, then the slow realization that this rubber idiot might actually change the world. Let's start with the bottom tier of respect. These are the people who grudgingly acknowledge Luffy. You've got Emu sitting at a dead-cold -10%. This isn't your typical, "I hate that guy" energy. The ruler of the world government wants Luffy erased from the literal fabric of history. Not arrested, not thrown in Impel Down, straight up deleted. To Emu, Luffy being the one who awakened Joy Boy's will is the ultimate middle finger to everything they've built over 8 centuries. Then you have Akainu at -5. This man views Luffy as a threat to everything he stands for. He turned Ace into a donut right in front of him, which broke his spirit and left a permanent scar. He calls him Dragon's son because he sees Luffy's very existence as a mistake that challenges his absolute justice. He just wants to eliminate him like a problem. Blackbeard lands at a flat 0. People love to bring up the Jaya speech about dreams, but don't let that fool you. Teach was just a predator sizing up his dinner. He's Luffy's dark mirror, a D who brings chaos and void instead of the sun. He's pragmatic, cold, and honestly, his massive ego makes him underestimate Luffy in a way that's definitely going to bite him later. Odie Jones barely registers at 2%. He's a mid-tier hater who was mad Luffy ruined his little coup in Fishman Island. He gives Luffy the bare minimum credit for being a threat, and that's about it. Moving up slightly, Buggy lands around 15%. Buggy's ego is a fortress, and it kills him inside that Luffy reminds him so much of Shanks. It's that annoying little brother energy. He resents how much attention Luffy gets while he's failing upward into a Yonko seat. If your favorite character is already on this list, and you're already disagreeing with me, good. Drop your ranking in the comments right now. Let's see if your One Piece knowledge actually holds up. Then there's Crocodile, starting around 15 but climbing much higher over time. Back in Alabasta, he left Luffy for dead twice, and didn't think twice about it. By Marineford, he was intercepting Dracule Mihawk and Akainu to save Luffy's neck. Not because they're buddies, but because he realized Luffy is a force of nature you simply cannot ignore. It started as, "only I get to kill him" energy, and slowly turned into real acknowledgement. NL sits around 22%. That god complex is a hell of a drug. He never imagined a rubber man could even touch him. To Enel, Luffy wasn't just a pirate. He was a natural disaster that proved Enel wasn't the invincible god he thought he was. He respects Luffy the same way you'd respect a lightning rod that actually works. It's mostly just bewilderment and a bruised ego. On to the middle tier of Luffy respecters, these people respect him either because of fear, rivalry, grudging admiration, or all of the above. Doflamingo lands around 25%. At first, he's literally laughing in Luffy's face because Gear 4th looks like a bouncing joke. Then that Kong gun lands, and suddenly he's flying through half of Dressrosa. The mockery died right there. He realized Luffy is the one thing he can't manipulate or predict, and that scares him more than anything. He'll call Luffy's dreams childish all day, but deep down he's shaking because he thinks they might actually come true. Rob Lucci sits around 35%. This is Warrior's respect, pure and simple. Enies Lobby pushed him to his absolute limit. Then, on Egghead, he witnessed Gear 5 firsthand and was forced to team up with Luffy. You cannot watch that and walk away unchanged, even if you're Rob Lucci. Smoker rests around 53%. Their entire relationship is built on mutual acknowledgement. Smoker recognizes that Luffy operates by his own code of honor. He let the Straw Hats escape in Alabasta after learning the truth about Crocodile. He teamed up with them in Punk Hazard. He would still arrest Luffy tomorrow, but the respect is absolutely there. Kizaru at 55% is one of the most interesting entries on this list. He first clashed with Luffy during the Sabaody Archipelago incident, where he absolutely overwhelmed the entire crew with terrifying ease. But even then, his attitude never felt personal. Borsalino approaches everything like it's just another job. When he goes after Luffy, it isn't about hatred or crushing his spirit the way some other Marines might try to. He simply carries out his orders. Eustace Kid lands around 70%. Competitive respect. Luffy is the rival Kid constantly measures himself against. They clash, they compete, and neither is willing to fall behind. His first mate, Killer, sits around 75% after fighting alongside Luffy and Wano and seeing firsthand what kind of monster he really is. Here's where it stops being about power levels or battlefield acknowledgement. From this point forward, every single person on this list had their life permanently changed by one rubber-brained pirate who just refused to leave them alone. Boa Hancock begins around 76%, climbing to infinity. Her love for Luffy was born from something she had never seen before: genuine purity, his total indifference to her beauty, and the fact that he stood up to the world nobles to protect her sisters. That's what broke through her walls. And here's the insane part. Even the Seraphim version of Hancock, SC Snake, shows an unusual fondness for Luffy despite being created as a weapon. Even Vegapunk seems surprised by it. Think about what that means. Fujitora lands at 78%, and this quote alone should tell you everything. He said that if he could regain his sight, he would use it just to see Luffy's face. This man respects character above strength. He's not impressed by power, he's moved by kindness. And Luffy somehow managed to impress a blind Marine admiral through sheer decency. Katakuri reaches about 80%. During their legendary fight, he wounded himself to even the odds after Flomp interfered. When he fell, he deliberately fell on his back, a sign of respect acknowledging Luffy as his equal. And when he found out Luffy had escaped Big Mom's territory, he smiled. The strongest sweet commander in Big Mom's crew smiling at the escape of his opponent. If that's not respect, I don't know what is. Marco at 82% sees Luffy as Ace's worthy successor and genuinely believes he will shape the future of the pirate world. Coming from a man who served under Whitebeard himself, that's not a small statement. Yamato lands around 83%. After reading Kazuki Oden's journal, she waited years for the person who would bring the dawn of the world. The moment she saw Luffy's spirit, she knew. She fought against her own father for Luffy's cause. That's not admiration. That's a conviction built on years of belief finally meeting its subject. Big Mom lands around 85%. She went from calling him a brat to recognizing him as a genuine rival. Law climbs from 50 all the way to 85 over the course of the series. He trusted Luffy enough to take on Kaido together, and that's not a small thing. That's betting the entire plan on someone you've decided to trust. Trafalgar D. Waterlaw started out trying to manage Luffy's recklessness, and eventually just learned to work around it. Earned respect between two captains, absolutely. We're about to get into the legendary tier, the names that actually shaped who Luffy became. If you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. You don't want this next part to be your last video in the algorithm. Whitebeard sits around 88%. During Marineford, he recognized Roger's will inside Luffy. And then he did something that still gives me chills. He ordered his entire crew, the strongest pirates alive, to follow this rookie's lead. That is a passing of the torch from one era to the next. That is the old world recognizing the new world walking toward it. Mihawk sits at 90%. And his quote is arguably the most powerful thing said about Luffy in the entire series. He called Luffy's ability to turn enemies into allies the most dangerous power in all the seas. Think about who's saying that. The most solitary, self-reliant man in the world. A man who has no crew, no nakama, no alliances by choice. And he is the one who identified that Luffy's real power is making people want to follow him. That's the highest possible acknowledgement. Usopp hits 92%. Brother-like bond, pure and honest. But the Water 7 arc, where he fought his own captain, is the ceiling. The love is real. The respect is real. But that fight happened. Jinbei at 95 is the man who saved Luffy twice, once physically, once spiritually. After Marineford, when Luffy was completely broken, mentally, emotionally, physically shattered after watching Ace die, it was Jinbei who sat with him. He reminded him of what he still had to live for. He gave his own blood in a direct transfusion to keep Luffy alive right there, post-Marineford. when he was on the edge of death. That most important conversation in Luffy's life after losing Ace? That was Jinbei. The respect is complete. Now we are at the absolute top tier, guys who would sell their soul for this rubber man. First up is Rayleigh. Rayleigh at 95%, called Luffy his pupil in front of Marines. Compared him directly to Roger, said destiny is starting to line up. Said Luffy has become worthy of wearing that straw hat. Coming from the Dark King, Roger's right hand, that is everything. Shanks sits around 98%. He bet his arm on the new generation and placed Roger's straw hat on Luffy's head. Then there are some of the straw hats themselves. Nami, Frankie, Chopper, and Brook all sit around 95%. Their trust in their captain is absolute. Sanji reaches 100. He was ready to sacrifice his life at Thriller Bark and broke his own heart to protect Luffy during Whole Cake Island. His respect is expressed through sacrifice every single time, even when he has to sacrifice his own happiness to keep his captain safe. Vivi, Kobe, and Nico Robin sit firmly at 100 as well. Luffy didn't just help them, he changed their entire lives. Kinemon and Kozuki Momonosuke also sit at 100. To them, Luffy is simply a hero. Bon Clay at 100 stayed behind at Impel Down so Luffy and the others could escape. Total devotion. Roronoa Zoro sits at 100 as well. The Bedrock, saved by Luffy first, then dedicating his life to making him Pirate King. Taking all of Luffy's pain from Kuma without a word. Nothing happened. The single most iconic moment of loyalty in this entire series. For Zoro, Luffy is not just a captain, he is his king. And beyond numbers entirely stands Bartolomeo at infinity. After witnessing Luffy survive Logtown, he dedicated his entire life to him. For Bartolomeo, it isn't respect anymore, it's worship. The ranking ends here, but the debate is just getting started. Out of everyone we covered, from legends like Rayleigh to the loyalty of Zoro, who respects the future Pirate King the most? Drop your pick in the comments. I'm reading every single one to see who actually knows their lore. And if you made it this far, you already know you're built different. Subscribe, hit the bell to be there when the next bounty drops, because we're just getting started with One Piece breakdowns.